Last time, we introduced you to the where clause and showed you how to filter our actors and actresses by their names using the equal sign as a comparison operator. Now, we'll show you how to accomplish very similar results, but in a slightly different way. Recall that in our last video, we wrote a query that returned all actors with the first names of Ben or Tom using the OR operator, like you see on your screen. Another simpler way of doing this in SQL is to use a type of logical operator called in. Let me demonstrate. We're going to replace almost our entire where clause by saying where first name in Ben or Tom. When we run the query, we get the exact same results as we did before using the OR keyword, but it makes our code look a little cleaner. We can continue the example by adding two more names, like Jim and Angela. In is a logical operator, not a comparison operator. Comparison operators test whether two expressions are the same. Logical operators, on the other hand, test whether some condition is true. There's a difference there, but it's very subtle. Other examples of logical operators include like, exists, and between. And it's also important to note that any logical operator can be reversed by adding the not keyword before it, such as not like, not exists, or not between. Let's test this out by updating our query to say where first name is not in Ben, Tom, Jim, or Angela. Now, we're getting all the other actors in our table except the ones we specified in our query. The other type of logical operator I want to introduce in this video is like. Using like in our filter criteria allows you to perform wildcard searches on your data, like finding all actors whose last names start with H. We're going to change our where clause to say where last name is like H. And we're going to add a percentage symbol after the H. The percentage symbol is our wildcard operator. It's SQL way of saying that anything can come after the H. When we run the query, we get 19 actors, all of whom have last names starting with H. Let's now say we want to find all actors whose last names start with H and whose last names end with S. We're going to add and last name like S to our where clause, but we're going to put the percentage symbol before the S. Notice that our results are now 0 because I have a capital S here. If I change this out with a lowercase s and run the query again, I will get 6 actors. Now I have 6 results with 3 actors named Harris and 3 actors named Hopkins. I want you to notice here how those values were case sensitive. Because I used an uppercase S in the first time, I got 0 results. But when I changed it to a lowercase s, I got better results. Pay close attention to uppercase and lowercase lettering when using filters in your SQL. There's another way of writing the query we just wrote that's even simpler. We're going to remove the second line of our where clause. And we're going to just say where last name is like capital H with a percentage symbol followed by lowercase s. This accomplishes the exact same results as our last query. Let's try yet another example. Now we're going to replace the s with a lowercase p and put a percentage symbol after the p. Now we're telling the database to give us all actors whose last names start with H and that have a p somewhere in the middle of the last name. When we run this query, we still get 6 actors, but we get them with names like Hopper, Hopkins, and Hope. Now, if we change this to 2 P's followed by a percentage symbol, we're saying give us all actors whose last names start with H and have 2 P's in the middle, which returns us 2 actors with the last name Hopper. The last thing I want to demonstrate in this video is how you can use the reverse of like, which is not like. So let's update our where clause to say where last name is not like A. This should return all actors whose last names do not begin with the letter A. That's easy enough. Now, let's take it one step further and say that we don't want to see any actors whose first or last names begin with A. So, we will use our AND keyword that we used in the last video and add another line to our where clause saying and first name not like A. The last thing I'll leave you with is this. Our wildcard operator, the percentage symbol, does not work with the in or not in logical operators. If I tried to run a query where I say where last name is in A with a percentage symbol, I will get 0 results. The in operator can only be used with a precise value. If you want to do wildcard searches with the percentage symbol, you need to use the and or operators with like and not like. That's it for this video. We introduced you to 2 more logical operators, in and like, as well as their evil twin versions, not in and not like. In and not in are going to be very useful to us in later lessons in this course when we start to compare data from different tables. In the next video, we'll learn some more operators to use in our where clause, continuing to explore new ways to filter our actors and actresses.